graph had the downturn in some of the public varieties from 22, 23, 24. How was that? How did that compare to the proprietary varieties, and how much of that was kind of attributable to oversupply or rather underusage following COVID?
Sure. So what we've seen with the acreage reductions in the United States is we're now at levels of around 2015. So we essentially wiped out 10 years of growth within our industry over the last 2 years. And it had been particularly oversaturated within 2 key varieties, Citra and Mosaic. Whereas other varieties within our portfolio, we've actually been really conservative and very tight on inventory. But because the acreage reductions were not equal, and they were done, by a couple key suppliers, the public varieties have suffered more. But I don't know the exact percent of what would now make up the portfolio, other than 70% of proprietaries now make up U.S. aroma hops. So within Citra and Mosaic, they have seen significant declines, but there's been more publics that have reached the endangered species list. There hasn't been any proprietaries that have reached that list, if that helps answer your question.
With the reduction in acreage, I assume there's a large hop surplus, and it's hops. It's a product that cannot be kept indefinitely. So, what do you do with that surplus, and what's the plan to use it rather than let it go to waste?
Absolutely. So the question here is, what have people done with the excess hops that are stored in warehouses? We've seen a number of activity trying to get around this problem. The first is the creation of downward or advanced hop products that can help with the shelf life. So we've seen, the rise of extracts and flowables and downstream products as a way to preserve the shelf life of hops. And they typically right now are crop year agnostic as far as how the brewers are working with them. So that's been one outlet where a lot of people have
Timothy
their hops into oils.
Taylor's landlord.
We've yet to see the growth of the market significantly to really adopt that.
Not sure the
starting to
percentage.
see maybe 5% of the U.S.
Timothy Taylor's landlord, dark.
These advanced products. The other side is, unfortunately, is people have looked to open up new rest of world opportunities with maybe older crop year working into that. Fortunately at Crosby, because we are 50% estate grown and then have sourcing partners for the other 50% of our hops, we have been able to not have these surpluses within our own hop portfolio. Which is, very positive for us that we've been more resilient through this downturn and are coming out a lot stronger. But it's just not been the case with a lot of our counterparts in the U.S., unfortunately. I guess let's just do a show of hands. Who works with public hops right now in your brewery? Okay, great. So this was a lot of preaching to the choir, which is wonderful. So within that, I think that even just within Publix, you can see the characteristics of the hops just are
Timothy Taylor's landlord,
you look then at
dark
expression between Oregon, Washington, and Idaho. So we have a really great example of Comet that we source from a wonderful growing partner in Washington, and then our estate grown Comet at our booth towards the back of the room. And it's just the prime example to really see the Oregon terroir. You typically get more total oils in Oregon as well. But Oregon, we're just about 10% of the aroma hop market. So we're very niche, but growing. And as far as in hop history, we used to play a very significant role with over half of the U.S. hops in Oregon at some place. So within my lifetime, I think we will reclaim that position.
So I've got a question for you. So the numbers you were showing earlier with the decline across the different hop types, do you have the data that split across the US and UK and Europe? see